Well, Donald Trump canceled Jobs Friday. Anything with Donald Trump canceling and jobs just naturally goes together. Jobs Fridays is the first Friday of every month in which the jobs report about how the economy is doing with job creation is issued by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 2 months ago, Donald Trump didn't like those numbers, so he immediately fired the chief statistician and tried to install his own bootlicker in there. But that didn't work, and they're still generating numbers. So Donald Trump had to hit the emergency brake and shut down the government to stop the jobs numbers from coming out. Jobs numbers that the Bureau of Labor Statistics under the Labor Department said they were going to release as part of their contingency plan in case of a shutdown, and now they're not releasing. How convenient. So now we've got to turn to private sector numbers because we can't trust the government's numbers under Donald Trump. So we got to go to private sector that follow these types of things, like the payroll company ADP, who came out with numbers that said that the Trump economy shed minus 32,000 jobs last month based on payroll data. Bureau of Labor Statistics uses surveys that they send out to companies and employers and ask for them to come back. So it's a predictive model until new data comes in. ADP's got the payroll. They said we're down 32,000, especially in travel, in leisure, in hospitality, in professional services and technology. Down, down, down. And Donald Trump didn't like that. So he said, cancel the numbers, cancel the government. I'm Michael Popok, not canceling MeidasTouch. You're here with us here on Legal AF. Let me put on my economic hat from years of working on Wall Street and talk about what we are seeing. Jobs Friday is important as a data input to the Federal Reserve. Donald Trump's tried to destabilize the Federal Reserve. He wants to gain control of the Federal Reserve. And how convenient. Right after the Supreme Court said, no, pump the brakes. You're not firing the Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook to gain control of the Federal Reserve and its interest rate setting mechanism. No, we'll see in January for oral argument. How convenient that right after that, he hit the emergency brake and shut down the government. Those reports are done for the prior month. And what we've heard, predictive model, is that it's going to show a minuscule, anemic creation of 53,000 jobs. That's it for the entire month. In an economy of 330 million people, 53,000 jobs is not even a drop in a bucket. It's not any water in the bucket. Unemployment, which was hovering at around 4%, is now going to go to 4.3% based on more predictive models, even without us getting the data. Now, Elizabeth Warren, who is the ranking member for the Democrats in the Committee of Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, wrote a letter to Russ Vought. Russ Vought, he's the keeper of the Trump checkbook, Office of Management and Budget, architect of Project 2025, that Russ Vought. He's really Doge. Forget Elon Musk. He's the guy that's cutting off funding. If you hear some funding cut happen, Russ Vought's fingerprints is all over it. And she wrote the letter directly to Russ Vought to demand the release of the Bureau of Labor Statistics monthly jobs data, which is essential, she says, to the Federal Reserve's decision-making process as it gets ready later in the month to decide on interest rates. On September 26th, the letter reads, the Department of Labor released its contingency plan indicating that key economic reports, including the jobs data, would not be published in the event of a government shutdown. Yet they had said that they were going to release the data when they were preparing for a 2021 shutdown under Biden. They said they're going to release the data. Trump said they're not going to release the data. And we know the data is available because a former Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner, Bill Beach, who was appointed by Trump in the first term, said the data is ready. The cake is baked. He said, quote, the September data has been completely collected and processed. The jobs report is likely written in final draft and could be released on Friday. It demands to be released on Friday. In the meantime, the private sector is stepping in because companies need data in order to plan. They're not just thinking about today. They're not just thinking about first week in October. They're thinking about 3 quarters from now. They're thinking about a year from now, how much they want to invest, how much they want to hire, who they want to hire, what businesses they want to acquire. They're doing that planning now, and they need data. They used to be able to rely on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but no more, because Donald Trump he's cooking all the books, and all of the businesses know it.
Hey everybody, Ben Meiselas here from the MeidasTouch Network. I wanted to let you know about my podcast partner, Michael Popok's new law firm. It's called the Popok Firm. Michael Popok's pursuing his dream of starting his own law firm, really based on the popular demand by all the Meidas, Mighty, and legal AFers who were approaching Michael Popok with their cases and saying, can you help us? And at that time, Popok was not able to. So he went out on his own. He started the Popok Firm, where he is now handling catastrophic injury cases like car accident cases, trucking cases, malpractice cases, big negligence cases, wrongful death cases. So if you or someone you know have a case like this, the consultation with Popok's firm is free. Give him a call. See if you have a case. It's thepopokfirm.com, thepopokfirm.com, or you can call 877-POPOK-AF, P-O-P-O-K-A-F. So 1-877-POPOK-AF. Give Michael Popok a call. And I'm really proud of you, Popok. Thanks for all the hard work you're putting in.
The hiring plans of hiring managers, right? People like, how many employees do you plan to hire over the next year? That's the question. And the results are the lowest hiring expectations since 2009 under this Trump economy. I don't think the real unemployment rate is 4.3. I think the real unemployment rate is closer to 5%. I don't think the real inflation rate is at 4%. I think the real inflation rate is for going to the supermarket, paying your bills, is 6 or 7%, or if not higher. And interest rates depend on proper jobs numbers. How do I know that? Because Jay Powell said it. Here's the Fed chair, Jay Powell, on this point. Play the clip.
So, putting the pieces together, what are the implications for monetary policy? In the near term, risks to inflation are tilted to the upside and risks to employment to the downside, a challenging situation. When our goals are in tension like this, our framework calls for us to balance both sides of our dual mandate. Our policy rate is now 100 basis points closer to neutral than it was a year ago, and the stability of the unemployment rate and other labor market measures allows us to proceed carefully as we consider changes to our policy stance. Nonetheless, with policy in restrictive territory, the baseline outlook and the shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting our policy stance. Monetary policy is not on a preset course. FOMC members will make these decisions based solely on their assessment of the data and its implications for the economic outlook and the balance of risks. We will never deviate from that approach.
So what are we watching? When Donald Trump's economy polling numbers, he starts shedding polling numbers. 61% of America now rejects him in 10 new polls. He's got scandal after scandal, day after day. His attempts, his successful effort to destroy the Department of Justice and every cabinet and department that matters to the American people and their welfare. He's destroyed public health. He's destroyed public safety. He's destroyed our economy. And now that all the polling numbers have come out that say, yeah, we see it and we reject it. And 70 or 80% of the independents have said, we're out. And they've left the building. What does Donald Trump do to kind of change the weather in the room? Oh, let's threaten to start a war with American states like he's Abraham Lincoln in reverse. Let's send the military troops in. They must have loved that with this cosplay military review that Trump and Hegseth did to stone-faced admirals and generals who didn't applaud, didn't clap, and didn't even smile, and probably thought, based on veterans' interviews, thought that everything was effectively batshit crazy. You do that when things are going terribly in your administration and you need a moment to flex some sort of muscle. You pull the emergency brake on the government to try to change the weather in the room and get you out from all your scandals, your numbers, your failing economy, your failing policies. That's what we're watching. The irrationality, the descent into madness and irrationality right before our very eyes. You can't look, but you can't look away. That should be the new slogan for Donald Trump's administration. It's a train wreck of epic proportion, and we're the victims. Donald Trump's not the victim. His cabinet billionaires are not the victim. We're the victim. He's playing with lives, ours, with our money, and making it worse. So job numbers, whether they come out or not on time, they come out a week from now, a month from now, it's not going to change it, Donald Trump. You've wrecked the American economy. You've wrecked the fundamentals of the American economy. You've wrecked the engine that created jobs. Consumer confidence is in the trash. And if you thought you were going to get an interest rate cut based on the jobs numbers before, wait till you see what the Fed does next. It may not be what you expect. I'll continue to follow it all right here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. I'm glad you're here. Come on over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the free subscribe button there as well as we continue to grow to 1 million. Our goal is 1 million before 2025 is over. We're going to do it with your support. And if you want to become a full card-carrying member of Legal AF and its community, come over to Legal AF, the Substack, and find ways to become a paid member there as well. That's what keeps us on the air against the attacks by the Trump administration, for sure. Until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.